Hello, welcome to Sequence Break 14, the podcast about Final Fantasy XIV. I'm Siri, I'm going to be doing some hosting duties today, and we got a couple people with us today. We've got my buddy Oro.
Hello.
We have Joe back with us again.
What's up, guys?
And we've got Dark.
Yo.
Callan and Jeff are both busy at work, trying to be, normal adult human beings. How dare they? So we're going to have to hold down the fort and get this stuff started. And unfortunately, this has been a very, very slow news week with patch really far away. There's not a whole lot to talk about, so we kind of cobbled together some content, and we're going to chat about some random things. Hope you guys enjoy. So I guess first up on the list, there has been a great deal of talk about CT and basically the entire raid structure and how all that 2.0 raid content is essentially dead. And it looks like people are, begging to go back and do it because the devs put in a great deal of work into this. And I'm wondering, is this worth it? Or is this something that, the devs should really be paying attention to?
Well, how many people are actually begging to go back and do it? Is it really like a large section of the population that's really asking for this?
I think that... sorry, go ahead, Joe. You first.
I want to say it's mostly the influx of new people who started when Heaven's Ward dropped. I mean, you start in the 2.0 zones and you're going through that progression, through those zones. And of course, that's all relative content pre-Heaven's Ward. So it would be nice for the new people to experience that because the lore and the story and stuff is really cool.
Yeah, case in point, I can think of at least 3 people in our own FC that started just before Heaven's Word. They scrambled to get up to eye level and they didn't make it for release. So they were pushing to get that level 50, to get that eye level 115 so they could actually go do damage to mobs, even with us passing them gear from Ishgard. That means they never got the chance to really experience CT, both in its good and bad parts. We're talking about the trolls. So there's a lot to love about CT. I think that CT is the whole structure is a wonderful zone. There's a lot of love and detail, and the music is amazing. And there's a subset of players that just, at this point, cannot experience without sitting in Duty Finder for a good 40 minutes.
Or longer.
Yeah, it's been really bad recently. And for me personally, Circus Tower holds a very special place in my heart because that's where I first really started running with my static and all of that. So I wouldn't mind going back to see that randomly. So the question is, how do we fix this so that new players can go see it, but players who are well above that cap, actually it's relevant to them?
They need an incentive to go back.
They're going to put one.
Well, that they're going to have to. It looks like the devs are saying there's going to be something implemented, but the question is, what are they going to do? And one of the major theories that's been throwing around, and I'm actually kind of into it, is incorporating them into 3.1 relics.
Okay, but this is also something I view as a problem because I believe there were maybe 1 or 2 complaints in the thread that I actually saw. Backtracking through old content in order to access new content as the sole reason for doing that old content, it's actually kind of annoying to have to do that, to have to go and do that content that you've done hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of times.
Like we all have.
But, yeah, but you've already done it so many times, now you have to do it again. I feel like making new content or new items or new rewards. Well, I'm not going to say new rewards, but locking new content behind older content as a gateway might be a bit tedious for a lot of people. Um, I don't know. I think that there should be a more creative way to deal with it. What that
Well,
way is, I'm not entirely sure.
I do agree that locking it solely to that content is just asinine. But I think that incorporating it into the 3-point relic along with more current dungeons is fine. I mean, the people right now who are trying to get their zodiacs done in preparation for 3.1, they are literally locked into pre-Heavensward content, and that is absolutely insane because they cannot obtain light for anything above like Somal or something like that. I think it applies to the very first dungeon too. So there, if you want to get your Zodiac now, you have to run things like Brave Flux Hard, or you have to run Pharaoh Sirius. All those Realm Reborn dungeons. You cannot run Heavensward content. I'm not saying stick CT as the only methodology for 3.1, but for variety's sake, adding that would, give people who are doing it now a chance to not run Never Rape again. One, allow people who haven't done it before to do it. Two, and three, just kind of give a breath of fresh air if you add it into roulette of a large glut of content of this is all the things you can do to obtain your 3.1 relic, and it could be a random of any dungeon up to this point. It may not be the best way to do it, but at least it's something.
But now comes the question: Would you? I know they probably wouldn't, but would you rather them have it unsynced, like available for unsynced, because it is level 60 content technically, because it is for a level 60 weapon, that you should be able to run it as an unsynced party?
The mechanics within Labyrinth and Roll of Darkness prevent you from doing that.
Oh yeah, because you can't queue as an alliance.
No, not even
with it.
that. Just you need a minimum number. We've discussed this before. You need a minimum number of people to get certain mechanics done in certain areas.
Yeah, but I think he means that you can still go in there as a level 60 character without
Like 24
being
level
under
60s.
Like that. I'm sorry. No, I totally agree. You should be able to go in there as a level 60 and wreck shit. Now the problem
Agreed.
is that throws off the class balance for people who are going in at 50. But I think that's something to be dealt with later.
And if that's the case, would they then have to just increase all the bosses? Would they just reconstruct them all together, or would they make it harder, like a Savage Crystal Tower?
Or do we get to just like stomp on
We don't just
Celia's
get
face?
to stomp on things. You know that. They're never going to make it that easy for us.
Well, if it's just one portion of, let's use light as an example, one portion of that massive total, is it really that bad?
I mean, if you're just using it to supplement whatever it is that you need to do for Zodiac or other things, because I thought myself that maybe having the CT and the other raids give out esoterics or similar currency for level 60s might entice them to do it, just to do it, just as another source or just to change things up. I thought, that was an initial thought that I had. But I mean, ideally, what I would really like to see them do, and I'm just saying this ideally because I know that they would never do this, or I can't imagine them having a reason to do this. I would like to see the zones actually change or
Kind of evolve with the group
evolve.
content.
Yeah, if you have a bunch of level 60s coming back through, oh hey, you defeated World of Darkness before. Guess what? Something else is going down, or the zones are slightly different, or
There's more mobs.
the story evolves in some way to make it more interesting for the higher levels to want to go back and do these zones.
Because I'd worry if you ran in there with a bunch of 60s, yes, I mean, it would be much easier, and yes, it'd be easier to get lights that way, but I feel that it's just going to make that whole ignore mechanics thing even worse. Because we're buff, we can just DPS it down.
Yeah.
Fuck mechanics. It's a DPS
So do you
loss.
think that a percentage increase of all values across the board is enough? And just keep the mechanics the same, or are you talking about like a full revamp?
Are you
See,
asking
that's
me?
hard.
Either one of you, because you both seem to be on the same page, and I'm curious
Well,
what you guys think.
I'm not exactly talking about I guess making the content tougher could be a part of it, but I feel like revamping the zones would be interesting and would be a creative way of dealing with it. I'm not saying that they would ever do that. I don't expect them to do that. Like when I mentioned it, I said, well, it's not going to happen, and it's not going to happen. They're not going to revamp those zones. They're going to stay exactly the same way they are. I guess making it tougher for the level 60s to do would be something, but and I guess that would also be a reason to offer new rewards or to increase whatever amount of awards that you could get from those zones.
But then, go on.
No, go ahead.
But then that leads into the whole thing. Will it be a separate queue? Because the main reason why they want to revamp it is to make it relevant for people who haven't done it yet, and that could be people who are still between 50 and 60. Now, would they be able to reap the benefits of the better drops, the esoteric that early, and all of that?
I doubt it. Just because of the fact that, like, it's like when you run a high-level roulette, if you run it as a 60, you get SOs, but if you run it as anything else, you get XP.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You would
Yeah,
be able to get the advanced currency.
Yeah, it should be just super
Professional.
toggle.
Because I'm not even capped on SOs. They can't be capped on SOs before, they're 60.
but then it also leads to, like, okay, let's say one full party is 60 and another party is like 51. So now you have these mechanics or just a difficulty increase for the level 60s, and so like maybe one party can't handle it because they're all 50s or but less than 60. So where does the balance change from there? Does it get skewed based on that total average item level? Because that still would fuck it up, because you could have a whole group of I-210 people who raid Alex A4, and you have people who are in AF gear at level 50 or whatever. 110 was it to get in, or 90? The
I think it was
minimum.
90. It
Yeah,
was
so
90.
you could technically have people in full I-90 and a group of people in full 210, and then what's gonna happen with that?
Let's break that down even further. Let's not even go full group. What if all 3 tanks are I-90
Oh shit!
and everyone else is near I-200, 210? That's going to be one of the sloppiest runs on the planet, and there has to be some way to kind of fix that beyond syncing.
Yeah, because
So
even in
what we're saying is that they can't just increase the difficulty of the runs if we're expecting fresh people to try it.
Well, they'll also have to pay attention to the fact that of the class mix and level mix.
yeah, it would just be too complicated.
Yeah, as an underlevel tank, you and I have been in that position. You can't hold hate against somebody who wants it when they're a bajillion eye levels above you.
Even at level 60, for example, I dinged 60 in the library, and I had my full set of Gordian gear ready to equip. I dinged after the first boss, and I tanked the whole dungeon. Like, there was absolutely no way that level... He was 60, but he was like I-140 something, and I was I-185, and there was just like absolutely no way he was able to tank my damage.
Yeah. So there's a lot of little things and perspective that need to take into consideration with this, but apparently the devs are aware of, quote, the lengthy queue times for Crystal Tower, and they're looking into ways to improve it. So whether they take one of the ideas we've thrown out there or not, I have no idea, but I'm...
Only thing they're going to do is they're going to put some content that you have to need to do the CT for. That's
So,
all they're going to do.
Another
That's what they're
Archmage
gonna
quest?
Yeah.
SO
I don't want to
upgrade.
do it again.
You do the quest so you get the SO upgrade thing, like we did for the not the Sands of Times, the
Exactly
Twine.
like that.
But
The
Hard
that
Twine-
feels more
yeah.
like it would be tied to Void Arc, though, not with CT.
I agree with that as well too, because that is also equal content for that eye level. Because I assume Void Arc is going to give I-200. I don't think it'll give 210. But
No.
if it's giving 200, then you get like the ability every week to get one piece of upgraded SO on the right side, like they did at first. And Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to do it that way.
I mean, to be honest, the only way to make it interesting in my eyes is to change it up somehow. But they're not going to do that. So the only thing that they're going to do is tie content to it, or give you esoterics or whatever extra currency that they come up with when you go in.
Okay.
That's what they're going to do.
So let's go around table really quick. They add it to a roulette, and it gives you extra esoterics. Oro, do you do it?
No. I don't want to do it again. I've already done it. I know all of them. I've done it so many times, and to be honest, with all the crap that you have to deal with actually doing those dungeons, with like people being assholes and shit, I don't want to fool with it anymore. I'm kind of done with CT and ST and stuff. Unless something new and different comes out of those zones, I have no reason to revisit them. No reason at all, because I can do, like you said, there's other choices. I can do other things, so I'll just do those other things. And I'm pretty sure there's a ton of people that feel the same way.
No, that's pretty smart. Joe, how about you?
Kind of the same way. And you know how the community always goes with whatever's the most fast and efficient way. 40 minutes in, even if it like 40 minutes clear, because you'll be capped at 50 most likely. 20 to 30 minutes to do that, and you have to deal with 23 other people who could fuck it up. Or you can just run Never Reap with 3 other people and get that over with. Especially with such a low esoteric cap, it might not be worth it.
Dark?
I really have to agree with Aura on this one. Like, I beat all of those things so many times to try to get gear. I can't even look at them again unless they are like, if you run them again, no matter things 50 whatever, you get this new cool gear, then I would do it, because I am a gear whore for glamour.
What if you do the zones and then there's like a 50% chance that Cloud of Darkness is Mario?
I'm in.
Mario?
Yeah, Mario. Then you'd want to do it. You'd be like, oh, I want to fight Mario. And he does like all the Mario attacks, like the spin thing and the fireball, and he eats a leaf, and you have to deal with him flying around and stuff.
And the cloud of teleportation is him going down through a pipe and then popping up through another one?
Oh my god, yes!
I'd be all over that in a heartbeat.
I would totally do that again. That's why I say they just have to change it up somehow. Then you would be like, oh shit, let's go do the different CT now. I heard that like Metroid jumps out of the ground and shoots you and shit. It'll be great, but they're not gonna do that.
Or like, I don't know, even other Final Fantasy people would be fine. Like, all of a sudden the bosses, it doesn't have to be Sephiroth. It could be like Kefka or somebody else like that. That'd be so cool.
I totally fight Seymour again because I hate him.
Right?
He's a piece of shit.
Stupid
He's a
hair.
face.
Fight Anima at the end.
Oh.
He was creepy. I didn't like
Well,
him.
he's about the same size as Cloud, right? Cloud of Darkness.
Probably.
Wasn't it technically a woman?
Yeah, wasn't it? It was like the
It was
mom
like his
was on
mother,
top.
right?
The mom was on top, and then the child
The
was.
mom is always on top.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm
Wow.
titling the episode. The mom is always on top.
Please don't, Calloway, kill me.
See,
Yeah.
see, I thought we'd be bad because it was like, there was no Kala to regulate us. But no, Dark, you, thank you for that. Love you.
Dark is the new Kala.
What?
Dark is...
Ah,
Ah!
no.
Alright, I'll throw my 2 in. I don't think I'd go back very much. I think I'd at least try and run Circus again, because like I said, it's special to me. But the second someone fucks it up because they don't want to pay attention to mechanics, I would be gone in a heartbeat.
You just gotta make a macro like me.
Your macro was the best macro.
See, that's the reason I would go back. It give me a reason to spam that macro.
I mean, but just think about it. How many times have you done Cerebus? Do you really want to do that again?
No.
Oh no, I actually despise World of Darkness. I love it in concept, but in group, I hate it. Circus, I've actually encountered very few groups that fuck up Circus.
Ho, 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 ho.
No, let me qualify for that. If you can get past Scylla, you can do Circus Tower.
Nope. No. I need
Yeah,
to draw
you're right.
you later, but this is just
Yeah.
personal venting.
Okay. Anyway.
Let's
So
just hope they do something cool.
yeah,
Make it worth it. Just make it worth it.
yeah, I want to go back. I do. I genuinely want to go back. I just want it to be worth my time.
That's what I mean. I mean, there's only one way it could be worth your time. Well, I guess Dark mentioned some super cool gear. And the community goes to where the cool rewards are. If they come up with a cool reward, people will do it even if they hate it. But I don't want to do it for the cool reward even though I hate it. I want to do it for the
Enjoy it.
cool reward
And enjoy
and
it.
I want to have fun doing it too. But you can't have your
They're gonna make Puff of Darkness OP in Lords of Verminion, and so
Oh,
That's
people
go
are
back
how
and
they're
do it
gonna
then.
do
so
it.
people are
Yep.
gonna farm it for just her.
I was about to say new minion or something.
She like one shots all minions on the fucking board. Yep, nope, going back to World of Darkness.
She just swallows them all up.
blows out the bones.
like
Anyway.
like
Or pick her
Melina
teeth.
in Mortal Kombat with 14 rib cages.
That's what I was thinking
good
of.
lord. So we're gonna move on a little bit. Joe actually brought up something very interesting, and it ties into an experience that I've been dealing with the past 2 days. So I personally purchased PS4 Heaven's Word because I wanted to be able to play on my Vita and be able to hang out in the living room with my wife. And the thing that's been blowing my mind right now is dealing with the cross hotbar and trying to find a way to finagle it with all the right triggers and the left triggers and the combination of triggers to get more skill bars up and whatever. Drives me insane. And Joe brought up a very good point that this is the first expansion really where we're getting new skills, like truly new skills. And with an upcoming expansion, you expect a level cap. Are we going to run into a point where there's going to be class ability bloat? Joe?
Yes. As a controller player from Final Fantasy XI, I was like, this is my, like, I started playing keyboard and mouse on like other MMOs because you were forced to. But with Final Fantasy XIV coming out and they're like, yeah, you can play controller because it's going to come out on PS3, I was like, fuck yes, I get to sit back on my chair or my couch and play this game. But then, yeah, the crossbar, I use 3 on all my classes, and I do the mixed trigger way, and it's still like, fuck, I don't have enough room for everything. Like some of my stuff I still have to physically click because I have to put them on a separate hotbar and click them to use, because like the super situational abilities. And it's just, there's gonna be new abilities. I mean, you can't increase and be like, nope, we're just gonna increase the potency like as you level or something. And that didn't work. Even WoW got rid of that. Remember, anybody who
Yeah.
played WoW,
We'll
you
get
had
to WoW in a bit.
you had to buy the upgrades from like your mentor or whatever to upgrade the spells for the potency, but they still gave you new abilities as you leveled, and it's going to be the case here. And I'm not going to want to use 4 cross hotbars on my controller to cycle through them because it's just going to be a pain.
Speaking of Final Fantasy XI, I played as a black mage in Final Fantasy XI, and I had more than 4 hotbars when I did it, because you kind of had to, like you said, be able to finagle using the shoulder pad to go to different pages, because you would have so many spells. You'd have tons of spells in 11.
On
for
top of
black
all the
mage.
gear sets for every spell.
Yeah, geared sets too. So I would end up with like 7 or 8 like friggin' hotbars that I was in, and eventually they
I had 4 on
expanded.
Dark Knight.
Eventually they expanded how many you could have. They had like books and stuff that you could use in 11. But to be honest, it wasn't that difficult for me to deal with in 11. I haven't tried using the cross hotbar in 14. Kala uses it. I've never heard her complain, so I can't really say whether or not she has a hard time, but I kind of feel like it's just something you have to get used to. I mean, I don't know. Do a lot of people have trouble with using the cross hotbar? I thought, because when it first came out, I thought, wow, this is really cool the way they have this set up. It looks like it'd be perfect
No,
for
well,
the
I don't have
job.
I don't have a problem now, and I've been using it with no problems. I've tanked almost everything in the game besides like the hardest raids, and I don't have a problem. But I I already used 3, and it's like when you cycle through and you miss one, you have to cycle back. I know there's a shortcut for it. It's like you have to hold
There's
something and then press a direction. But then if you're dodging mechanics at the same time, you don't want to make that misstep and miss that hotbar just to get to that one skill on like the 4th one, because the combat is much faster than 11. 11, slower combat, you were able to pull up the next macro bar and then be like, all right, I know I got a stun soon, so my stun is ready on this macro, and so on.
Dark. How do you play?
Controller.
Okay, so I think we run a full gamut here because I am strictly keyboard and mouse, and I'm trying to learn cross hotbar. Oro is keyboard and mouse who has used a controller for 11, which was insane, and then
And
Joe and Dark.
I'm not even trying to use cross hotbar either. I'm fine with keyboard and mouse. I like keyboard and mouse, and I don't have any intentions of changing.
Okay, and then Dark and Joe are using controller. So let me give you my crazy perspective, and maybe you guys can kind of like fix what I'm doing wrong. So I have a Naga, so I have that whole 4x3 grid right by my thumb, and I am super, super, super used to that. Basically, my keyboard is only for movement, and my Naga does all my skills, and alt, and that gives me 24 skills in total. To accomplish that on a controller, I need to utilize R trigger, which gives me the D-pad plus the face buttons, L2 trigger, which is D-pad and face buttons, L2 then R2, which gives me D-pad and then R face buttons, and then R2 then L2, which is technically what, 3 full crossbars? Is that correct?
Yes.
And I'm having the craziest time trying to figure out how the fuck anybody does this. You have to be the most dexterous piano playing motherfucker to pull this off, and anybody who does content with a controller, I seriously bow down to you. You are insane and fucking talented. I can't grasp how this works. And
Well, it sucks for me too because I use one of my crossbars is a universal one that doesn't change, so it has like
the
party.
mounts and
Yeah.
yeah.
And so like that one is my L left trigger then right trigger. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but you're gonna have to do more combinations for that when they add more abilities.
That's my point, is that for me, I'm sitting here and I was doing my ninja, and I was like, okay, I filled up almost 3 crossbars just with ninja skills right now. And I'm sitting here trying to manipulate them and finagle them. Yeah, you can put up a skill bar that shows all your cooldowns so you can see them at all times. I've read that. That's great.
That's what I do.
Yeah, but what happens when the next expansion pack comes out and more skills come out? Does 14 have to eventually go down the path that World of Warcraft did? Because World of Warcraft, there was actually a whole post that I've been searching for all day and I can't find it, but it basically broke down the amount of abilities on a druid from vanilla, which was like 26, to Burning Crusade, which is about 32, to Wrath of the Lich King, which was 44, to Cataclysm, which was 37, to was it Warlords of Draenor, which is now back down to 31.
Because they're
There's-
streamlining it, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of streamlining that goes along with World of Warcraft, and the problem that they have is that there's a lot of really niche abilities that needed to be used at a very, very specific point, and honestly, that 1% usage is so minimal that they had to remove it and kind of fold it into another ability. And I'm sitting here trying to think of where are these abilities within 14 that 14 doesn't go down the same path. And the first thing that you mentioned, Joe, that we talked about was the elimination of cross skills.
Yeah, because that also goes with how the game is evolving and how they're trying to slowly phase out the base classes and just go with the jobs. And we talked about this, how Warrior and Dark Knight absolutely need provoke. You're not a tank if you don't have provoke, and that's a mandatory skill we need to get from Gladiator. Now, if they gave us our own innate provoke, they would have to change it up because we would need that at level 15. Kind of, I guess, depending on what you're doing. But
so the follow-up question to that is like, as a Dark Knight, is there a skill that you can really, at this point right now, say, I don't need this skill, I can replace it with a provoke?
No.
And that's what I'm worried about, is that right now... Go ahead, Oro.
I think that Final Fantasy XIV actually has done a good job of keeping the amount of abilities you have to use lower than you would expect. A lot of people have been complaining that we don't have enough abilities, because if you think about it, in 11 you had so many black mage spells,
end spells, bar spells
for each element, for all the elements. And
you went to like what, Thunder 5?
Yeah, and what did Yoshida decide to do? No, you just have like you only in charge of like these 3 elements, and each element has a use. We're gonna combine crowd control with certain elements, like your crowd control goes with ice, for example. Your DOTs go with thunder, for another example. You don't get to have like, okay, I get direct damage with thunder, ice, and fire, and then I have bio and gravity and blind. You don't get all that stuff. Everything is folded into one another. And I think that they are already considering these kinds of things, because what they have been doing is collapsing things into one another. They've been combining spells so that everything has a use. Crowd control isn't only there for the sake of crowd control. Blizzard or I forget the exact spell, or ice 2 or whatever. I'm not a black mage, so I'm talking out of my ass, but I do know that if you want to bind something, use an ice spell.
Okay, so here's my
counter damage, but you do nice spell.
Here's my counterpoint to that. Even as a paladin, on my paladin, I'm at a point now, or my scholar, let's use that as an example. I don't care which, either one. I, as a PC player and a keyboard, have access through 1 through equal sign, so that's 12 skills. I'm at a point now where I've spilled into a 3rd bar, and that 3rd bar is now at, I want to say, 4 or 5, depending on the class. And each of those skills is relevant in some niche situation.
Now, when you say a bar, you mean like an actual line?
Yeah, full stuff? 12.
Okay,
full
so
12.
I'll tell you right now, I've always been using 3 bars. And
yeah.
I'll also tell you this. What they did with Warrior is what I think that they're going to end up doing in the future, because when you think about how WoW first came out, you had like the talent system. And you had a different talent tree for each role you wanted to play. You wanted to be a DD warrior, you had this. You wanted to be a protection warrior, you had this. And you had like other stuff. Final Fantasy XIV has been relying heavily on stances. And what they did with Warrior, instead of saying, oh, you have Inner Beast and you also have the other stuff aside with that. No, we're not going to do that. We're gonna when you switch stance, Inner Beast becomes something else. So I think that's gonna be the future. Instead of having all of your abilities laid out no matter what you do, when you switch to a stance, your abilities just change. You don't have to have extra bars. You just, what abilities you have change to another ability depending on what stance you're in.
So wait, when you press Inner Beast when Deliverance, does it do Fellcleave?
Yes. Because Inner Beast becomes Fellcleave.
So it actually changes on your bar.
Well, it doesn't change on my bar, but it becomes inactive. You can't use it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's a follow-up question then. Here's what I'm really, this is genuinely important to this conversation. As a warrior, if this is going to be more of a, this skill gets a secondary ability, if we do in fact level up to another new level cap and more skills take on this dual functionality, will you, as a player, feel satisfied with the character growth if a skill that you've already had and have been using since level 20 just gets a new facet? If it's
uh, results of changing the role, because Inner Beast is a tanking ability. You use it to tank. You use
Defensive
it while you're
cooldown.
in Defiance. So yeah, it's useful there, but when you want to do damage and Deliverance, well, you don't have any use for Inner Beast because Fell Cleave does more damage. You don't need it unless you're actually tanking. So if I have a that's why I mentioned the whole WoW talent tree thing and the roles. If it's separated by roles and I know that I can use this ability for this role and this ability for this other role, then I don't have a problem with it. And let me be clear, like Joe asked me before, Inner Beast right now becomes inactive, and then you can use Fellow Cleave, but you still have to have both of them on your bar. What I'm
Okay.
saying in the future, what they would have to do is make it so that Inner Beast becomes Fellow Cleave. Or
I think
Okay.
that would be
becomes
fucking
something else.
dope.
That actually
I
changes
think that would
what
be
I was talking
fucking
about.
dope.
Because up until that point where you clarified that, all you're saying is you're putting another ability on your bar
Yeah,
that basically is only active when X happens. And
Yeah.
that's the problem that WoW fell down. And WoW eventually figured out that when you do stances, you create a whole new bar that replaces the 12 or 8 that you have laid out in front of you, which is a very, very smart thing to do, which 14 has not adopted yet.
See, I didn't know
If
that. I thought that was just something that I just came up with.
Oh, no,
I
no.
think that would
You
be
so
the
clever.
way to go in the future.
Yeah, so what WoW did a long, long, long time ago was, as a warrior, if you were in defensive stance and you had your full 1 through equal sign keyboard, that is all your skills on defensive stance. When you went into fury stance, it changed. So as a player, you could hit 4, and 4 in defensive stance was shield slam, but in fury stance, it was whirlwind. And that's not something that we have right now. And if we had that, I would not have the same class ability bloat concern that I do for controllers right now.
So it'd be
And-
like switching from summoner to scholar,
Exactly.
and it just
how your
gets
bars
rid
change
of
completely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that exact same principle happened, but it was by stance. And what Oro's taken that a step further and said, if you are in X stance, this skill does this. If
it's
you're
gone
in-
from your bar.
Yeah, if you're in Y stance, this skill does that. But my concern is that if you want to have one skill do 2 things, does that provide a person a sense of accomplishment and progression? Because all they're doing is unlocking a second half to an ability rather than getting a brand new shiny ability they've never hit before.
Unless they change the animation.
Yeah, that could be it too. That could be all you need.
I mean,
If it looks fucking cool.
I don't see that as an issue because I'm sure some people are going to complain.
Yeah,
but you're
everybody's
gonna
going to
get
complain
used
about
to
something.
it. I mean, they got used to it in WoW, obviously,
Hmm.
and you're gonna get new abilities, but I think to cut down on the bloat, like you mentioned, they're gonna have to repurpose some of the older things to keep you from getting too many abilities because you can't have a black mage like you had in 11, not in 14.
Nope, not at all. Oh god, red mage, Jesus.
So what you can do is what they did do with black mage. Oh, you have a shiny new stance, or you have like a magic circle. Now you have access to these like super stronger abilities. So I mean, it's the same principle. When you level up and get new abilities, those abilities are locked behind a newer stance that you have acquired as part of your leveling up. And what that stance does is it changes like some of your older abilities to something stronger or something that you could or it augments your older abilities to be something stronger. Sort of like if you take Bard for example and Machinist.
Wander's Minuet.
Don't
Yeah.
even get me started.
But that's what they did.
No,
They
that may
said-
actually be the first step. You may be right.
I think
They
yeah,
said-
that you're going
They
somewhere
said,
with this.
hey, instead of giving you like a bunch of new shots, we're gonna make you cast your shots and have them do more damage. I mean, what's gonna happen is your play is gonna be altered, and they've already mentioned that they are working on a revamp of the battle system. I'm pretty sure they mentioned that they're gonna be like upgrading the battle system, and we don't know what changes they're gonna make or how different it's gonna be, but they're not going to give us 500 and something different spells. That's not gonna happen.
Oro. Now, as a warrior, would you want like let's say level cap 70, right? would you like them to have at like level 70 to give you a provoke, and so you don't have to cross class provoke from gladiator?
What I want them to do is give us more cross-class options. And you know what? I'm one of these weird guys. You know what I want? I want 150 million different abilities that I can choose from
No,
and
I
make my
agree.
character
I'm
how
very
I
much
want.
on board with that.
What I think they should really do is lock down how many abilities you can actually have and use. That way, your bloat is cut down and you could customize your character, but of course, there's going to be cookie cutters and blah, blah, blah.
There's
But
gonna be the most whatever
yeah,
min-maxed one, yeah.
but that would be a way to cut down on a bloat. They're not going to do that, but that would have been the first thing that came to my mind. But I think what's going to happen is, and level 70 provoke, whatever, I feel like what they should really do is take one of our current abilities and
add provoke to it.
add provoke to it instead of because like they've done with the black mage spells, they've rolled crowd control into some of the spells. Just roll provoke into tomahawk, or
But then tomahawk would be on a bigger cooldown.
well, then it's just on a bigger cooldown. I mean, what do you use it for now? You just use it for pulling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so give that, you could pull with I mean, I feel like they should just roll provoke into something else. I mean, you're gonna want it to be a long range ability anyway, and I don't think there's a problem with putting it on a shorter cooldown or keeping it the cooldown the way it is, or because tomahawk is already on a cooldown. It's not like instant cast over and over again. Just make the cooldown a little bit longer, and I don't think that's going to be a problem.
I can see that on Dark Knight also. Like, we have Unmend and we also have Abyssal Drain, which are both ranged instant threat. I mean, like, Abyssal Drain is a AoE threat ability, so it's like a ranged flash that does damage, which is fucked up for paladins. But like roll in provoke into that, because I only use Abyssal Drain when I'm getting blasted by like 6 enemies because I get unlimited MP from it. But it is a kind of a situational move based on what I'm fighting, and that you would never use on a single target. So for raid situations, which are generally fighting one big boss, using Abyssal Drain on a bigger cooldown as a provoke that does a little bit of damage would actually be pretty cool. But then again, that is like a level 56 ability or something.
I'm just going to mildly interject for a second because you mentioned Bard. I really hope they don't do to everyone else's jobs what they did to Bard, because I, as a Bard main, think it's so stupid that if I do any kind of synced 50 dungeon, I have to play a completely different way than I do at 60. It is one of like my worst pet peeves of the game, besides trolls and stuff.
That
Is
why you
actually
switched to
really
Scholar?
unthought out. That's silly.
But you know, that's kind of what that's what they've done. For Black Mage, you can't use Enochian or whatever it's called when you're a lower level. For me, I can't use
Deliverance.
my Deliverance when I'm a lower level. You play at a different in a different way when you're a higher level than you do in a lower level, and I think that's going to be the future of the game. They're going to augment the way you play the higher you get.
I think the difference between those two examples, and maybe it's just those two specific ones, is that a black mage was already stationary, so Enochian does not really change very much outside of the fact they have to be cognizant of where they drop it. A warrior, you already have a stance, you're used to dropping it, so it's not a huge deal. But the inability to run and gun without Wanderer's Minuet pre-50 and the necessity to be stationary post-50 is a massive difference. And that is a change in a job that we have not seen up until this point. And you may be correct, and we may have to move forward knowing that certain abilities and functionalities may not be the same moving forward, but the most obvious one is Bard.
Hey, Oro, you played Warrior in 1.0, right?
Yeah, I actually played Gladiator more in 1.0. But yeah,
Do you remember how like you
I
could
did
stay
play
in
Warrior
one
for a while.
you could stay in one place and you would like gain stacks of like power if you didn't move as a marauder?
Yeah, Rampage was great.
That shit was fucking cool, but then like
was
if
great.
you twitched, you'd lose all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. But I just think that's gonna be the way it is in the future. Things are gonna.
It's a complete possibility.
And that's what's nice about this game. If you don't like it, you don't have to re-roll a one. You just switch your weapon.
Something you couldn't do in other MMOs.
Yeah. Imagine like you got to 60 and you're like, I fucking hate this class. Oh, starting from level 1 on a brand new character with no gear, no progression, nothing.
That's
Or,
all I did
you
with
know-
Summoner.
Yeah, or you could be level 60 and find out you couldn't, solo old content. Or
true.
you could just push your ass through it like a badass and be like our good friends Gnosis Vex.
Is that a segue into something?
Oh, you ruined it because you said it.
It's,
You motherfucker.
I had to point it out because it was such a good one.
Okay,
It was
so
good. It was really good.
Joe, go ahead. You take this. My segue was killed. I'm gonna sit in the corner and pout now.
So, I follow Xenosis Vex. He is a warrior on Sargatanis. Did I pronounce that correctly? He streams, and he is he's the guy who did the man mode stuff, like the 7 warrior, 1 scholar, or did he do all 8 warriors?
I think he was all warrior.
It was
Yeah,
all warrior.
He's
And it
done
was
like stuff
beautiful.
like that, and his streams, he does this thing called he does terror, where he just randomly queues for like EX dungeons, and then like because back when before 3.0 came out, there was that downtime, so he was just trying to do things for fun, and now that level 60 cap is, and I think he's clearing A4S now. His group, he streams solo extreme primals, and the last week he was trying to solo all of the extreme primals. He beat it. I think he beat it for it. I don't know if he beat Garuda, but he beat Titan EX solo on a warrior.
Okay, I can see Garuda. Ifrit, I'm trying to work that out in my head. Probably works. How the hell did he do it Titan Extreme? I didn't watch this video. Please explain this to me.
Well, of course he got max stacks of Echo because he
Okay.
was wiping multiple times.
Fair enough.
He wore his melded vitality or strength gear. I think it was the strength gear with vitality on it. Is that the way to go for warrior?
It depends on what you want to set up, but I think if you go vitality with strength or strength with vitality, either way, it depends on what gear you have.
Well, he was able to reach an HP threshold to survive not being broken out of the jail and heal himself back up to survive the rest of the fight. So he took maybe 3 or 4 jails, which bring you down to like 9k, and on top of that you get that debuff when you get out of that, and he was able to solo it, and it was pretty amazing because he was going at it for a few hours.
Yeah, it would have to be a few hours. Wow, I haven't seen that video either.
And now, have you guys heard of anybody ever doing this in this game?
No.
But
But if anybody was gonna do it, it would have been him.
Right?
He's like the premier expert master warrior.
He is the pioneer
In the
of
game.
like that super aggressive warrior style.
Yeah.
And like you and I were talking about pre-cast, I think a warrior may be the only one that can do it based on hit point values.
I think so too, especially with Echo and the Vite accessories, and being able to do enough damage to take down an EX Primal. Now, I posted this up on the Final Fantasy XIV Facebook group, and a lot of people were like, "This is amazing. This is great. I didn't think it would be able to be done." And praise to Xeno because he's the only one who's actually dedicated himself to try to do it. And it's weird because there's a few, very, very, very few people who are just not impressed by it. And I don't see how you could play this game and not be impressed by that kind of feat, because it is very impressive.
They probably don't have a warrior.
Well,
Yeah,
their main...
she may be right. They may not understand the mechanics that go into how this is done. Or they could just be outright jealous. Or they could have done it themselves and not made a big deal out of it.
I put my money on just being jealous and contrarian.
Yeah, so am I. I'm totally am too, because I have heard zero about it. And we're gamers. Someone is going to brag about this if they've done it.
And here, think about it this way: people still can't beat it now with 8 people.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you think you're so great. I'm not gonna think you're great because you think you're so great. I don't want you to think you're better than me, so I'm gonna be like, blah, 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 blah. That's
Yeah.
basically all it is.
The correct answer is you're not great because fuck you. That's why.
Yeah, I mean,
And
if you
there's
don't
the
get excited
mentality.
about it, even if you don't get excited about it, you should be able to at least acknowledge that it was something that takes some skill and some know-how to do.
And like, I tried it. That was
How bad did it go?
It was pretty bad. I don't think. Oh, well, I got to the second phase, but yeah, that was. You know what's hard? Titan hard mode. No, not even Titan hard mode. Titan story mode solo at 60 is hard
Really?
because once you're jailed, it's a wipe.
Huh. I
You
never thought about
automatically die because it like the screen fades once you're jailed.
that. So then, how did he get away with that in extreme mode?
I think they got rid of that mechanic.
Interesting.
But I did beat Titan normal. You just have to burst his shit down before he jails you.
So you solo a Titan normal and came out?
Yeah, I did it. I won. I just killed him before he can jail me.
Congrats. I would never try it, but good
I
job.
was bored.
You
And
just
I was
inspired me
capped
to
on
try it.
Essos. And I was inspired by Xeno because, yeah, that guy, and his stream is very, very entertaining, and he does help people on his server. So good guy. You guys should follow him on Twitter and on Twitch and catch his stream.
Yeah, I've watched a bunch of his videos in like 2.0. He even made a Paladin video that one time. That was great.
Yeah, he loves tanks. So
Yeah.
he gave me some advice when I was leveling Dark Knight. So I was like 56, and he was also 56. So we were like going back and forth in this the stream chat about like optimal DPS rotations and like stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually learned a lot from his videos, to be honest, about how to use my warrior and how to gear up and things like that. So I totally agree with you that you should follow him and check out his stream and stuff because he's great.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Xenosis Vex, you are a hero.
I was so sad when his pants dropped, and so when his group cleared A3S for the first
Oh, okay.
time, pants dropped. So it might have been first in the world, the only tank pants on the planet, and he rolled and left before everybody passed.
And they hit the
Whoa,
floor.
that's painful.
Yeah, he was like, he left, and he's just like, yeah, and then he's like, I didn't get the pants, and then they're like, you left. Not everybody passed yet, and then everybody passed, so it hit the floor.
See,
So
you
no one got
said
it.
pants dropped, and I thought you meant on stream, and I thought he had a long stern talking to from Twitch.
But he got it again like 2 weeks later, so good for him.
Good for that guy.
I think that's
Which
actually a
run
really
was
cool.
this that Oh, go ahead.
Alexander
Sorry.
Savage 3.
Okay.
Oh. I think it's really cool that, like, actually seeing stuff like this has actually spurred a lot of people in their downtime, because, yes, we all have a lot of downtime now. We've been running back in and trying to be the extreme primals again, just to see if we can do it with 4, or with 3, or with 2, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I was actually talking with some friends, and they mentioned how doing certain content with 4 people, you kind of sit there and you wonder, am I going to beat this? Is this going to happen? And it's been fantastic hearing the excitement in their voices. And it kind of, honestly, this whole downtime of patch has kind of been create your own fun in the game, and everyone's finding small ways that are keeping them entertained, and it's inspiring me to actually do things. This is why I kind of picked up the PS4 version. I want to get those trophies. So it's kind of, how do you make your fun in this game? And Xenosis Vex apparently wants to kill Titan Extreme. He's a crazy man.
Yeah, we
What a
tried
cheat.
Moogle EX with 4, 2 Dark Knights, a Bard, and a Scholar. Got him down to 13%, but we didn't know that there was a Harden Rage where you have to kill all the Mogs like within a certain time. But yeah, we got to 13%, so we're gonna go for it
Never
again.
again.
No, we're gonna do it again.
Never again.
No, we're gonna do it again.
I was the healer, by the way.
Well, on the subject of their own fun, the community reps have also been busy. They're trying to find ways to entertain themselves and the community themselves. So I found a few things that I think were actually pretty interesting of items on the docket for future patches. And the very, very first one on the list is inventory search. Somebody asked in the forums, hey, let us search our own inventory windows with a search box.
Wait, what? That's different than how we can do things, what?
You say, so people on the forums are asking for an inventory search option, which allows you to search your own inventory windows with a search box. This is something that's been in other MMOs, and it pseudo exists in 14, but you need to have an example of the item to do it.
Yeah, so you can right-click.
Yeah, you right-click, search for item, and you can see retainers
okay.
and all that. And it looks like the community reps are saying that they're looking into seeing whether this is something that can be implemented into the game.
It's already halfway there.
Yeah, it's already halfway there, so why the hell not add a little, grade 1 gathering or gold ore? It should be easy to search. It exists already, so
/
supposedly-
search word
Yeah.
in quotes. Yeah.
this is supposedly on the horizon. So yay, because I don't want to have to go to the damn market board to look for a specific item to search to see if I actually have it on one of my retainers.
That would be nice, but I feel that there's more things that would be nicer, because you already, like you said, it's almost already halfway there. So I'll devil's advocate and say, like, what if they had, like, they were to implement other things that are just really irritating, like when you can't just go and invite someone to a party by name. You have to player find and then invite them to party, which takes much longer.
I think that's stupid. I completely agree. But
Another thing
apparently
from
that's-
11 that was
Yeah.
nice.
Forward
Well,
slash
yeah.
invite.
Forward
The
slash
other-
invite, yeah.
The other 3 items on this list is, can you fully preview a shield properly instead of only looking at it on your back? That's not adding to party, but hey, that's something. And the one that I actually really like, which is add many aetheryte location names to the map in Ishgard and other places. So rather than
yeah.
yeah, that'd be nice to kind of teleport to Ishgard and end up directly in front of the Forgotten Knight, so you can pick up your hunts for the week or day. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, little quality of life things would be nice, while we're, this not even that far into the expansion to get just a lot of quality of life stuff, like inviting people. And yeah, Shield, I always hated to have to, because I play on controller again, I have to go down and click the thing so I can
Sub-command
use
button.
the analog to
Mhm.
spin him around so I can look at a shield.
But there is one thing on the horizon, theoretically, that has been more irritating to people since expansion advent than anything else. And that is seal turn for grand companies.
Dun, 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 dun.
They ask us to wait a bit longer, but they are looking into a quantity selector. So no more are you going to have to buy Coke, one Coke at a time.
Or
You can
Ventures.
buy all the Coke. So many Coke.
Such
So
a
much
coke
coke.
fiend.
So much Coke.
Name of the
All the
episode,
blow.
So Much Coke.
I'm
So
in
much
love
Coke.
with the Coke.
Okay,
Share
maybe
a
that
Coke
one.
with your dealer.
Okay, stop coming up with all these good ideas for the show title, please.
So yes,
Did they ever change that for when you turn in multiple let's say you did 10 leaves, if you turn them all in, does it still play the turn in?
It does, and it's awful.
Does it play it over
endlessly
and over again?
for
Oh my
fucking
God.
ever?
They
My
should just
wife
stop
damn near
that.
punched me in the face for it. It was great. I sold everything in my inventory, and that thing went on for 7 minutes.
Holy
It
shit!
was outstanding.
Yeah, there's just little tiny, like you said, quality of life things that would be nice changes, but I mean the game will go on with or without them, so we're just nitpicking now.
Wait,
Yeah,
what
no.
quality of life things would you want added?
Me? Oh, dude. So favorite thing. Okay, I'm I bought all the retainers, which means I have, like, what, 8 now?
Oh my god. I've got like 3.
So,
I have
How the
8
hell
also.
do you have 8 retainers worth of stuff?
I need 8 retainers. But...
I just sold them. I don't want this. No, fuck that. Burn that.
But so, like, with my 8 retainers, I'm at that thing where I tried to organize them, like, one as... I'll shut up. 3 have gear, 2 have material, 1 has, like, special things that I, like main things, like carbon twines in case I ever need to do anything like that again. But I would love, instead of having to close this retainer, open that retainer, close this retainer, if I could just look through all of my retainers' inventories at one time.
Is this kind of an amalgamation of the full inventory view? You
Yes.
want an inventory view that takes up your entire screen?
I would take that, because I have done that stupid thing where I've forgotten exactly where something is, and I have stupidly put it under the one holding not that, and I had to scroll through all 8 retainers. And I might be the only person with this first world problem here, but it's very irritating.
I've done that with 3 retainers, so no, you're not alone in that, but just 8 retainers. Jesus fuck, woman. I can't even... No! That hurts my head.
Okay, I use retainers also for extra inventory space because they can equip stuff.
Okay.
So that adds. Can we add mannequins? Like,
I want mannequins!
Okay,
just
if there was an ability to have mannequins, I would actually purchase a room.
yeah, and
I
then you
would
could
just
put
fill my
gear
room
on
with
them
mannequins.
just to hold like a full gear set. Like you can put my
Exactly.
tank set, my scholar set, and be like, oh, swapping those out because it saves me room on my my
Or
armory.
not even that, just like if I felt like wearing a specific glamour for the day,
Yes.
and I could swap out with a mannequin, they could wear my old glamour stuff. I could put on my new glamour stuff. I'd look cool for a couple hours and then go back and swap on at leisure. It'd almost be like a glamour system without a macro. That would be fantastic.
Some people were also. I think I've read this multiple times. What is it? A glamour set for like the gear sets, but one
Mhm.
for glamour where you can like if you have all of the glamour prisms, you can just click it and it will set all of that to your gear. So you don't have whenever you get new gear, you don't have to keep on
Ooh, I like
looking
that.
pulling stuff out of your retainer over and over again to like like Rayo in his red coat.
Okay, I got one to beat you. So anyone who's played Rift knows this glamour system, and I think this is one of my favorite glamour systems in the MMO period. You were able to have one glamour appearance slot area per character. You purchased the remaining with gold or currency in game, and basically what it was you had a character sheet that looked exactly like your current character sheet, and you would drag and drop gear to that character sheet, and there was a checkbox next to it whether it showed or not. So what it did was it doubled as 1, storage for gear you didn't want to have in your bank or on your bags, and 2, if you checked it, it would show as glamour. And you were able to select Glamour 1, Glamour 2, Glamour 3, Glamour 4, so you had multiple glamour sets ready and waiting that served as gear storage.
They did that in DC Universe where like you set your skin like of how because superheroes Wolverine you don't want to see him wearing like a tunic and like some mismatched pants and like a friggin' cobalt helmet, right? So like you could set what your character wants to look like, and then if you got gear that looked better, you can set that or not.
Yeah, and I think that a simple little tick mark is a fantastic way to do it. If you want to charge as glamour prisms to access that, I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
I will gladly pay into that. But it takes away from the retainer portion, so that means that they're not making the $1 per month. It takes away from the glamour prisms, which means that alchemists don't have as much to do. There are little things here and there that kind of add up to the kind of market we have created.
But you can
And
still let us use the glamour prism.
There's got to be something we can do. Is glamour? I look through Twitter every day, nonstop while I'm at work, and there's a quote: "Glamour is the true end game." And the more
I've
I
seen
look
that
at Twitter,
multiple times.
Yeah, the more I look at Twitter, the more I really believe it. There's people who raid, and there are people who make their characters look fucking outstanding. And I want those people who make their characters look outstanding to have multiple slots so they can swap on the fly and then impress me with their awesome, sense of fashion.
I miss looking like Char. I had my Char set for my paladin.
I
when I was
demand
a
picture. because I will recreate
let
that
me
in a
link that.
fucking heartbeat. Anyway.
But I will just
So-
say, so the completionist part of me, because that's my problem as a gamer, is I'm a completionist. I've got a 100% thing. So I am holding on to a bunch of gear sets, complete gear sets, because I farmed all this stupid stuff. And I just want a mannequin, so I can see them wearing my Noble's gear, my Demi-Gugu gear from fucking stupid dungeons, because I have it.
Wow.
Yeah, it happens. I will do so many things for glamour.
Like I said, glamour is a true endgame, and the more I read about it, the more I see it.
I just linked
That
my
that is Quattro Regina right there. That is amazing.
He also was a female when he was doing this one, though.
and then there's this one.
So then, no, these actually look really good. So like I said, there should be some kind of quality of life toward glamour stuff because I'm sure that people would really take to those. But the only ones they've addressed are things like inventory search and shield visuals, etc.
But they always
hey,
surprise us with
Yeah,
like
they always
random
do. So,
quality of life. I'm like,
so
holy
I'm
shit!
waiting for
I didn't
people
even
to
think
drop,
about
and it's
that.
like, hey, you got like 7 glamour slots, and I'm like, yeah, bitches.
Like Party Finder. I like
That
that.
was a good one. Okay, so I guess we'll move on to emails then. So we have one email. It looks like it's Perplexed Witch again. Hello, Perplexed Witch. And
Hello.
they say, love your podcast. Keep up the good work, and I look forward to your contest, future streams, and content. I don't want to beat a dead bishop with a dragon killer. Talking about the community at large is definitely helpful in growing as a community. There will be rude players you run into, but I feel as though this community in particular wants to, quote, end the era of trolling, at least within SBXIV. I think people are fed up with trolling and really just want open and honest discussions about the game, and your podcast definitely allows for that. What do you all think if at this SBXIV this community will grow for the better, worse, or for the next expansion? On a side note, the language barrier between players and the developers I think is definitely a huge benefit. We have to listen to each other more carefully and take things a bit slower. This really allows both sides to have more trust and faith with each other, on top of the community having to work together to translate and find info relating to the game. It makes us appreciate each other just a little bit more. I do wish that duty commands would be more frequent, maybe one day. Anyway, kick butt and good luck.
You missed last week where the same person sent another email to this thing.
I did listen to it, because I always listen to our podcasts. You should too.
Good job.
But no, I do think that, obviously we are, like you said, beating a dead bishop. The community conversation comes up, and it has come up on this podcast a good 5-6 weeks straight now. There are definite pluses and definite negatives to this community, and I do think one of the things that you do note here is very important. The fact that it's an international game and that people need to, take things slowly and pay attention is important. And case in point being the the TGS live letter that just passed. There were people who spoke only English watching this only Japanese stream, struggling to figure out what is going on, and people feverishly translating this live letter so that people can know what they're looking at. And it's a wonderful interaction of community, and it is not an in-game interaction, but it's something outside the game, which means that honestly it becomes something more, at least to me, because you're fostering community with in-game, and it kind of grows into something more organic and real outside.
And I think that's awesome.
I think
that's great.
Yeah, we have bad, terrible people in our community. That exists in every community. And I definitely do disagree with what Jeff has said in the past, and we have actually argued about this. I don't believe the community is filled with shitheads. I think it's filled with decent people. With some shitheads. But those shitheads exist, but doesn't detract from the fact that I enjoy the people that I get to chat with.
And that goes into like what she's asking is like, I don't know if it'll be better or worse. It most likely will stay the same. Because all communities will have shitheads. All communities will have great players. And we're lucky that Final Fantasy 14 is kind of on the more of like the nicer people side of the MMO world compared to other games, obviously. And with the next, before the next expansion, who knows? I personally think it'll probably be roughly the same way it is now.
I don't think there's going to be massive changes. I think I do agree with you. I think that basically you are responsible for the people that you keep company with, and the impetus for SBXIV and the community surrounding it lies in us. And that, I'm not saying that we set a perfect example, because we are far from fucking perfect people. I am a terrible person in all actuality. But, when it comes down to interaction with other people, you don't treat them like an asshole. You treat them with respect. You go forward. You make an assumption that this can get done, that the duty will go through fine. You don't ignore people for the sake of ignoring people. As long as you treat somebody with basic human kindness in this community, I think that there's potential for the community to go very far in terms of friendliness and acceptance. But there are going to be people who are going to not accept that and just kind of shit on you no matter what. And you just disassociate yourself from those people.
It's just like the real world.
Exactly.
Welcome to the real world.
And I think that's a very, very important thing. Is you guys mentioned this before. The real world, like with that whole crafting thing, has bad people, and it's all about your perspective and realization. As long as you're able to disassociate yourself and not include yourself with those terrible people, you're not a part of the problem. You're trying to be part of the solution. The problem will always be there, but the more you are part of the solution, the better the community feels as a whole.
At least the better the community will feel as a whole to yourself.
You're so motivational, Siri.
Okay, and then we have another email, which is
Kinda
actually a
along
little...
the same vein.
Yeah, it's actually very much along the same vein. And it's directly related to a previous podcast, so if you haven't listened to that, I'm going to try and reference it. There was a bit of a conversation where we were talking about, people who were assholes with Party Finder, Duty Finder, and, the fact that you, quote, always kick them at the end. That was said, and it happened, whatever. People agreed with it. And then we received an email which basically says, quote, I have been a listener since the start of 2.0. However, over the last few episodes, it grows tiresome hearing over and over about how the player base stinks. The final straw was a recommendation to always kick someone before the end boss, instead of when they actually deserve it, earlier in the duty. I wish you luck with the podcast, but I feel it's time for me to move on. And they give their name and server, and I'm not going to go ahead and mention that. And I just want to make my personal comment, because I was not actually present for that podcast when it actually went down. I don't agree with what was said. I have admittedly done it. I have kicked somebody at the very end because they were a raging asshole. And it was more of a vengeance streak, and, we're only human, we can only go so far. But I don't think that it's a hard and fast rule. Like, you don't say, oh, this guy's an asshole, we're going to kick him at the end boss because fuck him. No, it's... There comes a point where a person or people just basically, they can't take it anymore and they should boot. And I think that you are correct. You do it when they actually deserve it, when they've instigated or incited the wrath. You do it then. And I don't think that... How to put this? I don't think the views of the person who said it reflect everybody here. I know it doesn't resonate with me too much, but that is how that person feels. And I think it was said more of an offhand joke, and we did, in fact, respond to that email, and they sent a response back. So whether that person is listening now, I don't know. I truly hope that they are. And I hope that they understand that it was more of a rage reaction, and they wanted to get the best, quote, bang for their buck. It's not a thing that you do all the time. It was drawn out of vengeance, and yeah, we are human beings that sometimes you want that self-satisfaction. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that sometimes it happens, and sometimes I personally have been victim of it. I've been a healer, and I've been dropped at the very, very end, right as we're walking to Wakian in Neverread. And I've done it to somebody else. I'm not going to say it's right. I'm just going to say that it's a thing that happens, and I think that we should try our best not to let that happen. Or you want to do anything on that?
The thing is, if it happens near the end of the boss thing, generally I'll give somebody the benefit of the doubt because sometimes I just want to fucking clear the shit. But if they're going at it all the way up to the end, it's like, you know what? Fuck this guy.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what happened in the situation that was brought up on that podcast, which led to this email. It was an incessant from damn near the beginning to the very end, and it was kind of that last retribution of, you know what, let's just end this now. I don't want to deal with this. I want to feel vindicated.
Yeah, like fuck this guy.
And it's not a good thing to do. Vengeance is never good. But
Unless you're a
sometimes
warrior.
it feels so fucking good.
I will add that I think this might have been one that I either was listening to or was part of, and I don't know if it was really a recommendation unless we were joking and might have said that, but yes, we have done this before. I've done it before. I've gotten kicked before. It's just, we've done it. We're people. You're people. The community is people, and things happen.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever meant as a guideline, is what
No,
I'm trying to say.
yeah, the quote was, while laughing, you always wait to the end. And it was kind of an offhand joke, and I think it may have been taken out of context, but I think that it's also this recursive theme that we've had on podcasts week after week after week, where we've been talking about the community, and unfortunately, a lot of this community conversation has been driven by emails that we've received. And we're just, playing off what people want to talk about.
I agree.
There are definitely people who are out there who are bad. You can't ignore that.
I
But
agree
there
that a
definitely
lot
are
of the
other who are good.
emails are like spawning most of this community discussion. Like most of the previous weeks have been, this happens. Everyone needs to move together as a community. Everyone needs to get past this. But a lot of also the emails are like, well, this is also a thing too, and this is our response to that, or your guys' response to that. I'm just a guest.
I wasn't here for that episode, I don't think. I heard about it and I read the email and everything. Like Siri said, I don't think it's a hard and fast rule that the people on that episode were advocating. Me personally, I'm too laid back to let it really bother me that much. I expect other people to just ignore stuff like that, but at the same time, if I see someone being a douche or an ass or whatever you want to call it, and other people decide to treat that guy the same way that he's been treating them, then I consider it to be a fair trade. I mean, he reaped what he sowed. That's what he got. Other than that, I think it's just something that's on a case by case basis. It just depends on the person. Like everyone has been saying, people are people. If you have a friend that you're close friends with and someone is being a jerk to them or mean to them or treated them very badly, then you're gonna want to defend them in some way, defend their honor, protect them, be mean to the other person who's treating your friend that way, treating your comrade that way, treating your FC mate that way. That sort of thing is just what people do. It's not anything. I'm not gonna say that you shouldn't get riled up about it, because I mean, you're entitled to your own opinions and how you see things, but as a whole, I don't think that you should hold that sort of behavior to be the entirety of our personalities and what we have to offer and what we have to speak about, because that behavior is just being a human being. It's not something that defines exactly who we are, and it shouldn't be something that we are judged on completely. So this person, I know we said we're not gonna mention their name. I would like it if you would give us another chance, and if we say something else that pisses you off, then you're perfectly entitled to leave. But as far as that being something that you toss us aside for, I think that it's not really that big of a deal for me anyway.
Yes. And I can only hope, based on the response that we gave them and the response that we got back, that they are in fact listening, and if you are, thank you for giving us another chance. If not, we wish you the best in all your future endeavors.
On the off note about that is, I'm not generally quick to hit that vote dismiss or the initial vote dismiss. I will make comments verbally on my side of the computer about the issues, but if I see the little thing pop up, I will most likely click OK.
Oh, I stab motherfuckers when they like start acting up. I hit them with my car.
See,
Tap
and
on the
then
dome, son.
and see,
Just
like,
bam, bam.
I won't be the one driving, but I would push the
You're the
gas
wheelman,
pedal
son.
from the passenger seat
You'd-
if you
you'd
already
be
hit
in
somebody.
You'd be in the driver's seat, like giving me the go ahead, giving me the
I-
nod.
Run, motherfucker,
I'd be
run!
steering.
Wink, wink.
I'd be the one steering.
You wouldn't
best
start
thing
the
about-
car, but you'd steer it.
Exactly.
The thing about this
Okay.
community is that we're adults. I feel like the best thing about Sush, I think the best thing about the fact that we're not a bunch of teenagers talking smack on Call of Duty is because if you have to get to a certain level, I'm going to treat you like an adult. And if you're not an adult enough to take the fact that you played badly and we're going to vote dismiss you, I would hope that you do the same thing to me if I was playing badly. I'm
Yeah.
an adult and I'll take that.
We are adults. We are not beholden to each other, and yet we are simultaneously. And it's completely derivative of our interactions with each other. And if your interaction is poor with the mass, you're going to be cut.
In other words, hold that L. That was a joke.
Yo.
I know.
It was a joke.
But to say,
was kidding.
I kind of like facepalmed on my side of the fucking screen here. I was like, oh god, why?
I always go offensive at the end. I always do that. I never mean it, but I can't resist doing it.
Doing it and doing it.
Yeah, LL Cool J.
Oh,
That's
no,
what I
talking
meant
about
by
vanilla
hold
ice
that
cream.
L. I meant hold that LL Cool J is what I meant.
Mhm.
Ladies love cool James.
Okay. I'm stopping this shit right now. I think we're done. We're rambling now. So we're gonna give some site information first. We have one very important thing to say. So you can find our Patreon at patreon.com/SBXIV. You can email us at podcast@zanpensuken.net. The site is sequencebreak.com. And our Twitter, which is very important, is SBXIV. So Oro, why is that Twitter very important?
I don't know. Why?
Could it be because of a giveaway we're doing?
Yeah, I wasn't here when you guys discussed the giveaway. I just know that it's going on.
Surprise! This is where you play surprise that we're giving a giveaway.
Oh, we're giving a giveaway? Wow.
Yes, we
What-
are, Oro.
what
Let me
could that
tell you what we're
possibly
giving
be
away.
about? Okay.
We're giving away one large-sized I Beat Ravana t-shirt. We're giving away one Before the Fall CD signed by Masayoshi Soken. And one Lenticular card also signed by Masayoshi Soken to one lucky winner. So,
They get all three.
they get all three. We decided
Wow.
that you're gonna
That's
just go
an
big.
Incredible deal, Siri.
Just fucking go big or go home, son. So the contest is going to be run based on subs to our Twitch, which we are going to be much more active on very, very shortly. We're going to be streaming in-game play of us basically failing at content miserably. Our YouTube, where we're going to be posting also our shows in a YouTube format. And our Twitter, which I'm hoping a lot of you already follow, once again, SBXIV. And a tweet that can be retweeted daily for extra entries. We're going to go ahead and post all this information up as soon as humanly possible. And as of right now, we have a 2-week timer for this contest. So it looks like 2 weeks from now, which is today is
The 29th.
29.
Tuesday the 29th. 2 weeks from now is when the contest is over. And then we're going to pick one lucky winner. Yes, you can do all of the above. Sub to Twitch, sub to YouTube, follow our Twitter, retweet that tweet to gain yourself multiple entries.
Yeah.
So please, do all the above. I wish you all the best of luck. And I think that's everything. So let's go ahead and let's do closeouts. Dark, do you have anything you want to say?
Please give me mannequins so I can display all my glamours, please. I love you guys.
Joe.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to if you like our podcast, please share it with other people who you think would also enjoy it, because we want to get our voices out to as many people as possible, because we do this for you guys.
Senor Oro?
I will be starting a new production company called Hold That L Productions.
Oh dear God.
What? What's wrong?
I'm being Cal on this. Someone's got to be Kala here.
Why does anybody have to be Kala? Why does anybody have to be Hold That L Productions? We will be holding auditions for a new singing group.
Oh my god.
Boys
Are we
to
going to
Fail.
try and emulate Boys to Fail?
Boys to fail.
And you can find out more about Hold That L Productions at hakomichi.net.
And I'm Siri, nothing important. Twitter, CIRRISIAN. I'll be doing some Twitch streams under the same name, and I'm posting random ass videos on YouTube under the same name as well. And that's pretty much it. But thank you very much for listening, everybody. Let's say goodbye.
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 Boys to
no.
Fail. LOL.
LLV.
ASL.
ASL.